since your success in the primary, wondering what you've done to prepare for this job in terms of becoming more familiar with county government operations or attending meetings or studying home rule charter, those types of things.
Well, I've gone to some of the transition meetings, particularly the ones that were related to the ethics, Code of Ethics draft, and very interested in that. And I keep reading my copy of the charter so that I really am becoming very familiar with it. But still, it's a reference piece. I actually have it with me here today. Somebody asked me anything, and it's there. So.
Given your experience in attending some of those transition meetings, are you comfortable with where the committee is in terms of its responsibilities that it needs to complete by January, or do you have concerns about how that transition is going to unfold?
I'm comfortable. I think they've done a pretty good job considering the challenge. I am comfortable. I mean, I don't believe it's all going to be wrapped up in time, but you know, I think we'll be ready to go forward.
And why your particular interest in the ethics aspect of its?
Well, I think it goes without saying that we've had a lot of, you know, a certain measure of ethics violations and breaches of ethics in the past here in this county, and certainly one of the aims of the new home rule is to eliminate that kind of cronyism, favoritism, nepotism.
Are you satisfied with their discussion and what that group came up with in terms of ethics?
Pretty much, although when I get my opportunity, if elected, I may throw in a few little suggestions here and there, but overall I think it's a pretty good job, pretty good code.
Could you give us any of those suggestions offhand?
I don't have it here in front of me, but there was some part of the language where it said people may speak up when they see some sort of ethics violation. I don't think that may is a perfectly good language. I think it should be written as should, or it should be required to. You know, but other than that, there were only a few little areas where I thought that it could have used a new, you know, some rewording.
Okay. If elected and you're serving on the council, how much time do you expect to dedicate to that post?
Well, I'm retired, so I've got lots of time. I know we're required to meet twice a month, and I expect it will take a lot more than 2 meetings a month to do the job. So I suspect that, well, you know, it'll be a big part of my day, almost every day.
Do you think it's appropriate for the council member to have a daily presence or a weekly presence in the courthouse, or would you have some other preferred way if you're elected to interact with workers as well as be accessible to the public?
I really don't know what the plan is for whether we'll have an office or a place to work in, but I would probably consider being there every week for at least a day or two, and interacting with county employees. You know, you really, there's so many employees you have to, it may take a long time to really connect with everyone.
And if elected, would you vote to approve the hiring of a relative to a county authority or a board or a commission?
No. No, I would not.
And do you have an area of expertise that you'd bring to this council in terms of numbers and budgeting, or given your construction background, a love of research, experience in contract negotiation, those types of things? Do you think?
I would say my level of expertise really lies in my money management and business experience. I worked in asset management, and I ran a small, you know, a local business where you had to meet budgets, hire people, and you know, you had to be accountable. So what I'm really basing my qualifications on is my financial and business acumen.
And what about outside of skills, but more of your qualities? an attribute? Is there something about you that you think you'd bring to council that would be a benefit to it?
Yeah, I think I can be, first of all, I think I'm a very good networker, and I think I'm a good listener, and I think I can collaborate with others. I'm not so stubborn that I won't listen to suggestions and good arguments.
And one of the most challenging tasks for this council is going to be approving a budget that's a workable budget. Do you have specific ideas for increasing revenues that might be being missed right now, or on the flip side of that, finding places where expenses can be trimmed?
Well, as I said before when I was here the first time around, I believe in zero-based budgeting, where I think each department has got to justify all the expenditures. And starting from zero and the ground up, I think it's much more prudent to plug in what you need rather than take away from what's already been in place. And certainly we need to shrink the size of the county workforce.
And you're basing that on size of comparable counties, or why do you think that the workforce needs to be trimmed at this point?
Well, I think it should be trimmed because obviously it's, we have a huge debt. We have a huge debt service. I think we need to start working on paying down the debt and balancing the budget and not increasing our debt. So I think the most prudent way or efficient way is to shrink the size of government or outsource parts of the services. Whatever's most economical, I think we should do.
And any areas in particular that you think are the most likely for outsourcing?
I really don't think I can comment yet about that. So.
On the subject of county employees, what do you think might be a reasonable fringe benefit package for county employees? Things such as vacation and sick days.
Specifics? I think it should be similar to the private sector. And I don't know about a specific amount of vacation days or whatever, but I think a pension plan is appropriate, and I think that benefits ought to mirror the private sector. There shouldn't be any special privileges for government employees.
And what do you feel is the county's responsibility in funding outside organizations, things such as public libraries or recreational facilities, those types of things?
I would support it if it's affordable and prudent. I don't necessarily. I would never certainly preclude funding of outside organizations, but the first priority of the county is to do the county's business.
If elected, would you bring a particular issue to the council for consideration? Is there something about which you are passionate or have been campaigning on? Some of the candidates are talking about natural gas issues or taxation issues. Or do you think it's up to the manager to bring the issues before the council?
If I'm passionate about anything, it's choosing the right manager, and I think it should be someone who doesn't have any local connection. And I believe that we definitely should embark on a nationwide search, find somebody that's qualified, somebody with experience in running either a county or municipal government, and who has no political or familial ties with anyone here. I think that's going to be, first and foremost, most important role of the new county council. To select a very qualified and politically neutral manager.
Are you comfortable with what the transition committee has done so far in terms of starting the process of that search?
I am. Although I've not been privy to the names of the applicants, and I've actually spoken up in favor of not disclosing the names of the applicants, because that you know, that kind of abrogates the responsibilities and duties of the council itself. It's their primary duty to select the county manager. And it shouldn't be taken to the public. That's how I feel about it.
So just to be clear, at no point, even if finalists have been identified, you wouldn't want the names of those?
Well, no, let me add that I think when you get down to, you know, a final group of, a small group of, say, 5 or 10, I don't think it would be wrong to disclose those names. However, I still don't want it to become a political football and to have the public be weighing in. It's because and the public, of course, can have their opinions, but it's the role of and the duty, the obligation of the county council to select the manager.
If you're elected to that group, would you be interested in serving as its chairperson? And if not, what characteristics would you be looking for in the chair?
I wouldn't personally be interested in it. I think someone that a chairperson has got to be someone that's got time and expertise in organization. I think it'll be a pretty big job.
Obviously, there's a certain level of media interest all the time in county operations. We think that's going to be amplified starting in January with this new group.
Mm-hmm.
If you're elected and part of that group, what do you think is the appropriate way for it to communicate with not just the Times Leader, but all the news outlets? To identify some sort of spokesperson for the group, or each council member?
Well, that's a good question. I would kind of favor having the chairman be the spokesperson after consultation with the rest of the panel members. I don't know if that will work out that way. I'm sure that the press will try to single out individuals, and maybe some of those individuals will gladly speak their own mind, but I'd like to think that we could work together.
Questions from the group at this point?
How much are you raising for your campaign? How much do you expect to spend?
I expect to spend somewhere in the range of $10,000.
Have you had any events?
I've had two relatively inexpensive events. One a pizza event at Harvey's Lake at Grotto, and just last week I had a cookout event at our family grove pond. And I don't think I may have one more event which might not be a fundraiser, just a meet and greet. You know.
Have you had a limit on any the amount people are giving?
I've never made a limit, but I've not received any very large contributions.
What would be the high end?
The highest was one individual gave me $500. I had a handful of $250 contributions, but almost all have been from $150 to $25.
Is there someone managing your campaign?
I do, Frank Cunningham.
Based on the results in the spring, do you feel you have a base of support? Like, could you kind of figure out where your votes were coming from? Was it geography? Was it former classmates? Was it former customers?
Yeah, I have a sense. I mean, I live in the back mountain. I live in Dallas. I did very well in Dallas. Did very well on the west side of the river. Pretty well very well actually out in the country. Less well as the farther south in the county I went. You know, well, did fairly well in Wilkes-Barre, but the southern part of the county, I don't know that I have as much exposure, or haven't had as much exposure. So most of the people who know me live in the northern part of the county. Yeah.
Were you comfortable with the way the campaigns conducted themselves in the spring, with the way the election was held? Was there anything that you felt was irregular or out of line? No, I don't think so. No. Have you joined with any other council candidates to form any kind of coalition, or you're cooperating in any?
No, no.
Well, there are some people who are forming coalitions of one type or another. Do you think that's appropriate in this kind of race? Do you have concerns about working as part of a group with members of?
Well, I don't doubt that at some point, you know, I'll find myself at least sympathetic to some other people who share the same kind of philosophy as I do. But I don't know that it's, I'm not interested in becoming part of a coalition, basically, with an agenda, because, you know, when you have an agenda, I think you're restricting yourself, you're limiting yourself. We're supposed to represent the whole county in every matter, all matters, not just one political agenda.
Any other questions from the group? Wanted to ask you if you're satisfied with this endorsement interview, if you felt we asked the appropriate questions, if you had a chance to make your points.
I think so. Yeah, I'm satisfied, yeah.
Is there anything that we didn't ask about that you particularly want to mention, or anything that you'd like to emphasize?
The only thing that I would like to emphasize is that I don't consider this position to be a politically partisan position. I mean, I know there are people running from different parties and they're independents, but I think of myself as a public servant, not as a Republican or any party affiliation. My party is not my master. It's the people of the county. Let's put it that way, and regardless of whatever affiliations you might have.